Hi, my name is Jim Fesler, and I'm the owner of Appleseed Development. And this is my first foray into podcasting. I am involved in a mentorship program with Pace Morby, real estate investment mentorship. It's called Gator Method. And part of that program is something we call Project Forward. And it's a branding and growth program to get us out here learning how to be out in front of you, grow our business, and learn some new ideas. Part of doing this podcast for me was coming up with a name first, and so because of the name of my company, Appleseed Development, I decided to go with apple seeds. And why did I go with apple seeds? Well, kind of the way I want to go with this. Thoughts, ideas, discussions that you can take as seeds to plant in your own mind or in your business, grow and nurture them, and hopefully turn them into an abundant financial harvest for you down the road. What I'd like to do now is introduce you to my battle buddy in Project Forward, partner who is also in the mentorship program with Pace Morby and part of the Sub 2 student program. His name is Ray Contee, and I'd like to bring him up now. Hey, Ray, how are you doing tonight?
Everything is fantastic. I feel great. I'm glad the holiday is over with, and I'm glad your wife is back home.
Well, those are all good things. I'm not so sure about being glad the holiday's over with. I got to spend some time with my brand new grandson this weekend, and so I didn't get to spend quite the time that I wanted to get to spend with him, but we'll get some more of that down the road.
Yeah.
So, a little bit about you, Ray. I know you're from Maryland, kind of raised there. Can you give me a little idea of who is Ray Contee?
Okay.
What's your background besides? I know we're going to talk about real estate here a little bit, but what's your background outside of the real estate realm?
Okay, I was born and raised in the state of Maryland, and I grew up working different jobs. Like work construction, I worked security, and then I got a job at this major grocery store chain. And then I worked my way up through that, and in the same time as doing that, I got interested in doing real estate. But then it became an issue. I had to make a decision because I couldn't focus just on my full-time job because the real estate kept getting in the way. So I had to make a choice, either do that or stay in real estate. But that's what I did to start out. I worked there for about 22 years, and then I was like a dual, they call it like a dual agent, because see, I'm a real estate agent too. I'm a unicorn agent in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And I had to I finally left the grocery store and started doing real estate full time. I had flipped one contract and I had made about $1,500, and I came back and bought my whole crew lunch. And I started getting a lot of deals. I started making more money than I made at my full-time job from just flipping contracts. And then I started renovating houses. I heard about that. So I started, I borrowed some money from a hard money lender, and I had to put up a little bit, and he loaned me the money to buy the house and gave me fix-up money. And I still remember I made about $48,000 off of that deal. Then I was like, this may be pretty good money for me, just for about less than 90 days worth of work. So I started taking different mentorships after that. I was with Ron LeGrand. I was with Ed Beckley. Ed Beckley may be a little older than most folks that's looking at this, but I had bought a course from him. Also, it was a no down payment program. And then my wife said at the time, she said, you might as well just get on a 495 Beltway and just throw your money out the window. You're going to get the same result. Right. She said I was just wasting my money. Right. But I stuck with it. And then my wife that I'm with, she really liked real estate too. So me and her became partners, and we bought a real estate company. It's just her and myself. We own the company, and we just buy and sell and renovate real estate for right now. And then I heard about Pace on YouTube, Pace Morby, because he has a lot of creative finance programs. And I've heard about creative finance, but I never really got into it real deep like he goes into it. Because he talks about midterm rentals, short-term rentals, long-term rentals. And his specialty is like sub 2, taking over loans subject to, and not having to get a loan for the property, and subtail and hotel. And, he has a lot of creative programs, a lot of information with you could, it's like a tool belt. He gives you a tool belt, and you got all these different tools to use, when you are running to a deal. So like what Ron LeGrand says, like a transaction engineer, with, anything that'll come your way, you got a tool to work it. It could be like a novation deal or something where you could come in and just, whoever's selling that house, you could just partner with them and not have to get money to actually buy that property. You could just partner with them and settle up at closing after the property is sold. Instead of you having to get a loan to buy the property, you could just let that loan stay in place. But that's what I enjoy doing right now. And he has just so many techniques. It's like you got sub 2, you got the Morby method, you got the Lonza method, you got the hybrid method, you got the short sales, you got the lease options, you got the options, you got the seller finance. I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. But
so you got a lot there to you gave me a lot to unpack there for a little bit.
Well, it's just a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of different things. That's hard. Like I'm in the Gator program and the lending side of it, and we have a lot of that also. I want to back you up a little bit. You made a comment about being a unicorn agent.
Yeah.
I've heard that term a couple of times. I'd be interested in maybe your take on unicorn agent. What is that actually? What is a unicorn agent exactly?
Okay. A unicorn agent is a real estate agent that understands creative financing. And Pace came up with that name. Pace Morby came up with the term unicorn agent, because most realtors or agents, they don't know anything about creative finance. They don't teach us that. Like, how you take the test to get your license. They don't teach you any of that about the creative finance, the subject to, and all of the programs that Pace offers. But what a unicorn
basically do, so they would your normal agent would be more along the lines of okay, we're going to go to the mortgage company or the bank and get you a loan and see how that works, and that's where you're not going to look at any other options than
correct. It's just a normal agent just to help you buy a house or help you sell a house. And the normal way is, like you just said, if I'm selling a house, a buyer comes, right? That buyer goes to the mortgage company, gets a loan, and then they'll buy the house, right? Everybody goes to closing, sign the papers, and then we just wash, rinse, and repeat right? But if
Yeah.
somebody comes up with, oh, I want to make an offer on your house with a subject to loan, right? Most agents will say, what? What is a subject to? No, the seller's not interested. Where did you get that from? I've never heard of that. We're not interested. And then you say, well, how can you not be interested when you don't know what it is? Right? But
Yeah.
there's a lot of agents like that.
So maybe bringing up the sub two thing, maybe you could expand on that just a little bit as to what that entails. If you come to a property as a subject to the creative finance side of it, the subject to buyer, could you explain what sub two means? What does that entail for you as a buyer, and maybe what would that entail for the seller? Why would that be a benefit to the seller?
Okay, as a buyer, the sub two loan, and what that means is you're going to buy the property subject to the existing financing that's already in place. So if you got a conventional loan already, the seller has a conventional loan there, or FHA loan or VA loan, what you're going to do, like they used to do a long time ago, you'll come in and like assume the loan, but you're not assuming the loan. You don't have all that assumption paperwork, but it's like an assumption, but the loan stays in the seller's name, and the deed goes in the buyer's name. So all you're doing is just taking over those payments for the seller, and the seller is still on the loan for as long as I own the property, which could be 10, 15, 20, 30 years, or it could be as little as 5 years. But the most important thing is that they're still on the loan, but the title is in my name, so I can get all the write-offs, right? Yep. And what happens is once I take it over subject to, say if the seller had a 3% interest rate on the loan that I want to take over, then what I do is I'll find a buyer that can qualify for 8% interest rate, and then I'll do a wraparound mortgage to that buyer for the 8% rate, and then I make the difference from the 3% to the 8%, and then I get a large down payment also. You see, but when
you're making, so as an investor, you're making money on the spread.
On the spread and the deposit, and when they buy it from me.
That reminds me, I come from the automotive background, and I remember when I worked at the dealership, I work in the repair side of the industry is where I'm at in my automotive background. But when I worked at the dealership, I remember one of the things that I found it interesting, and this kind of fits that from the financial side of it, was the finance in the finance department. The finance department always bought what they call paper at a percentage. So they would buy it like, just kind of like you said, maybe they buy the paper at 3%.
Right.
And then they can, if they can sell that paper at 8%,
yeah, that's it.
That's they're making money on the spread. That's where they make their money at. So they can sell the deal. So one of the things I've heard with sub two, that becomes very beneficial for the seller is people that were maybe like in a foreclosed kind of situation, or something where they had to move. Maybe they were in a house that they bought, they didn't have a lot of equity in it, and their job changed, and they had to move real quick, and it was a way for them to get out of that property,
right,
and move on. in that case? Is that a, did I make that clear as mud when I was saying that?
Oh yeah, because that's the top two strategies that you just mentioned for sub two. Is somebody in pre-foreclosure or someone that doesn't have much equity at all, whereas they don't even have enough equity to pay a realtor, so they won't even sell their house. But sub two is the perfect prescription for them because they don't need equity. They just letting somebody, come in and take over their payments and, give them some money, give them 3 to 5% down payment or something to help them. Sometimes you don't have to give them any money. Just like with the pre-foreclosure, right? The sub two is good for that too, because you'll come in and stop the foreclosure by paying the payments that they miss. Whatever payments that are in arrears, you'll make that up, right? And then you just take over their loan, which could be a nice loan with a nice rate. And sometimes they get money too. Sometimes they don't. Most of the people in foreclosure, once you make up their behind payments, there's not a lot left over to give them a bunch of money. But like you said, those are the two top reasons for sub two. Because there's one guy named Kevin Cho. He done about 50 of them this year already. With the no equity. Yeah, over in Arizona. I mean, he's killing it over there. But you just have to have the right situation, which, like you said, no equity or pre-foreclosure or some form of motivation.
Something that they're looking to maybe get out where instead of them having to write a check, maybe they get out for nothing, or can't even possibly, maybe get a little bit of money in their pocket when they walk out.
Right. And then some people might say, well, what idiot would let somebody take over their loan with their name still on it? They would say, what person would let somebody leave the loan in their name and deed the property over to me? Who would do that? And what systems are in place to protect you for doing that, right? And what happens is, in the deed and in the promissory note, there's things written in there to protect that seller. Like, if I don't pay the mortgage payment, right, they'll be notified by a third party right away if that payment is late, right? They will know if it's not being paid. And then what we normally do is set up a little escrow account with some payments in there just in case something happened. And if it's a payment, it may be late or something, it can be taken out of that escrow account, right? But it's written in the deed and the promissory note that if for some reason we default, they get the house back. They get a deed in lieu of foreclosure that's pre-signed, meaning that they don't have to go to foreclosure to take the house back. They just automatically get the house back. Whatever money we gave them, whatever repairs we did to the house, we lose that.
So, I mean, from a standpoint of the seller, in that case, it's almost beneficial for you to not make the payment.
Exactly, because they get the house back.
Especially if they, if somebody was in foreclosure or something and they were way behind on it, and you came out, it could be a benefit to them if you didn't. Now, I'm assuming you're not going to take that on if you're not going to do that. You're there to make the payment and do that. That makes a lot of sense. That you wouldn't be investing in it if you weren't. But it does seem quite beneficial to them in that case to do that. So you mentioned a lot of the other methods in there. I want to jump ship away from the real estate for a minute and get to know Ray a little bit more besides the real estate. We had talked one time a little while back that you had mentioned that you got to do a lot of traveling around the world.
Oh yeah.
So was that, I don't remember for sure in the conversation, but I think you had mentioned that was in relation to when you were working with the food company
Oh
or
yeah.
something like that. But did you just did you travel all around the world, or was it like, did you get to go to Canada and Mexico, or what kind of travel did you do with that?
Actually, I did go to Canada and I did go to Mexico. And I taste bull. I went to a bull fight like the evening before I had my breakfast, and I saw the bull fight and everything, you know, and then the next morning we had breakfast at the pool, you know, looking at the ocean, and I was like, man, this meat tastes different, right? What kind of meat is this? Bull. And all I could think about was that poor bull, right? But yeah, I had went to Africa for a whole month while I was working at the food store. I had did an arbitrage, meaning that I had found the seller and the buyer, and I put the two together, and I made $50,000 and went to Africa for a whole month.
Well, that seems pretty nice. So,
and I still remember,
Was that with the real estate side allowed you to do that, or did did you find a buyer and seller in the food industry that you were in?
It was the real estate side.
Oh, through the real estate side.
Yeah. And I still remember when we was getting on the cruise ship, and I was praying that money hit my account. Because you know how you get on the cruise ship and they gotta swipe your card, right? And I wasn't sure if that money was on here yet, right? But we got up to the thing, and the guy swiped the card, and the money was on there, and it was nice.
Didn't want him throwing you overboard, huh?
Oh yeah. One of them. I'd be riding one of them humpback whales home.
Yeah, they give you one of them life rings and throw you over and say, "Well, sorry, you didn't pay," and we're out in the middle of the ocean.
Oh yeah, like with my wife. I think she was supposed to have wings when she was born, because she likes to fly. I mean, we done went to Brazil, we done went to Australia, we done went to Spain, we done went to Russia, we done went to Vietnam, we done went to all the islands. Where else? England. We went on
traveled the world.
Yeah. Then we were on the Queen Murray, and the Queen Murray broke down. We was on the Queen Murray, and let me see. Oh, we just recently went to Dubai. That was a few months ago. We went to Dubai, and I was like, man, that was like a whole nother world.
I've heard
it's just so beautiful over there. And some of the stuff you see over here.
There's a lot of money there.
Yeah, 13 hours one way.
Yeah. Especially when they just go and say, okay, well, we're going to make this really cool shaped island here and put out in the middle of basically in the middle of the ocean. We're going to make an island and put skyscrapers on it.
Oh yeah. But out of all them places, went to Hawaii too.
I've done that a few times. That's my experience off of the continental U.S. Is Hawaii. I've been there more than a few times, but I haven't actually been to another country yet. So we're going to have some more discussions about those different places that you've been to. So
one time we went to the airport. We was going out of the country, and we didn't have a passport. So we had to postpone and start over, and we had to go get our passport so we could go.
They don't like you landing without those.
Yeah, because yep. We
so
always.
Let me ask you, what is out of the different things that you've done? I know you've done some. You mentioned that you did some fix and flips, and you've done a few other things. What is kind of your go-to spot? I guess I want to say, you hear in the real estate investment, it's people that wholesale who just, this move property. You have the fix and flip people, you have some buy and hold you'd mentioned. do you have one of those that you specifically kind of niche into, and that's where you like to stay the most, or are you a little more, do you like to do different things all the time?
Yeah, I'm always doing something different, but I have a top 4. I got a top 4 that I just rotate, and mainly here lately I've been buying them from the courthouse auction. With the people can't work out terms with the bank, and then they're scheduled for a foreclosure.
Yep.
And then before the bank takes it back, they'll auction it off at the courthouse. And I'm one of them guys that'll be down at the courthouse bidding on it. And then I'm one of them guys that'll knock on your door too and say your house was just sold at the courthouse, and when you rolling out.
Now we had talked about that once before, and I thought that's pretty gutsy, especially living in around that Baltimore area. It would seem like you could be in some rough neighborhoods right around there.
Oh yeah, now
I've been there before.
Now I know how to pick my battles now. Now I don't go in them rough neighborhoods like I know the rough neighborhoods. I know where the bad people are. And then bad people, they don't care if the house got auctioned off. And they don't know how to work the system. They'll be in that house a year or two after you bought it at the auction. Right? And they'll look at you like, so what, you bought it at the auction? What you gonna do about it? Right? Yeah, so you're gonna have to evict them.
Come and take it if you think you're tough
come
enough,
and take
right?
it. Yeah, Yep. I ran into I learned that the hard way. With some of them some of the bad neighborhoods, I don't go in those.
Don't go there.
Yeah, just like I had one lawyer one time told me I had got his house. It was a REO through a bank, and he was like, "I'm not going anywhere. I don't care what you say." I said, "I bet you go somewhere when that sheriff comes." He said, "I'm not thinking about that sheriff. I'll just go file this. I'll just go file that." Right? So the eviction date came up, went over, knocked on the door, and he was gone.
He was off filing something someplace.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I guess the main thing that I really like, because it's 4 things: it's the courthouse auctions, it's the pre-foreclosures, it's the estate sales, and it's the tax sales. The main thing I like is the pre-foreclosures, right? Because I really enjoy helping people with my baby brother calls me the Grim Reaper. Knocking on people's doors and getting people homes out of foreclosure and all of that stuff, right? But I help more people than I actually get the house, right? Because some people, I just tell them what to do to keep their house. Because when I make contact with them, that's one of the first things I ask them: what are you trying to do with the house, right? And some people would tell me, well, I really want to keep my house, and I got sick, and my husband passed, and this and that and this and that. And then I say, okay, this is what you got to do. And I just tell them what they got to do. Some of them can get away with a loan modification. Some of them can get away with a forbearance agreement. Some of them get away with a partial payment. Some of them even come up with money to reinstate it, right?
Yeah.
But some of them don't have it. Some of them don't have money to do anything. So I just tell them, just go ahead and file bankruptcy, and that'll make everybody go away for a little while. Long enough for them to.
Even the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper got to jump in the black car and drive away.
Yeah. Well, kind of want to wrap this up a little bit right now. And one of the things that I thought about doing with my podcast and bringing up what I said in the beginning about the thoughts and ideas and discussions that you have and giving people seeds to plant for their future. Is there an apple seed that you could drop that somebody might be able to plant and use for their future to help them to maybe help them grow into a real estate investor better, or just something in general that you think might help them in whatever they're doing in their life that they might be able to use to just help them succeed in a better level?
You know, something that I didn't realize when I first got into real estate, but I realize now, it's always great to have a mentor like Pace Morby, right? Because his mentorship is forever. And most other mentorships are just for 6 months. But his mentorship is as long as you contribute back to the community, you can stay in his mentorship forever. But that's what I've learned is that you need a mentor to guide you and direct you from the pitfalls. And it just gives you an edge. It just saves you a whole lot of time and money because they already went through what you're going through. And they can just give you the blueprint and you just follow it. That's what I wish I had done earlier. But, I just found out through that no money down course, and I just went brick by brick. But if you got a good mentor, they can save you a lot of time and money because they can just point you in the right direction.
I heard somebody say, I don't remember, I listen to a lot of different podcasts and mindset and mentorship stuff and everything. And I heard somebody use the phrase, a mentor. I don't know that I'm paraphrasing this because I don't remember exactly what it was, but a mentor can turn decades into days.
That's pretty good. I got to write that one down, Jim. That's a good one.
Yeah, I heard. I stole it from somebody else. I don't remember who I stole it from, but I heard somebody. I heard in one of the things. I don't remember which one, but they were talking just about what you said, and they said, using a mentor and listening and using their knowledge that they've gained from all decades of work on their end, as from your standpoint, if you're willing to go out and listen and do it, you can turn decades into days.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought that was a pretty amazing, idea. And I think
that's a writer downer.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for that apple seed. I think people can use that, and I think it's a great one. I mean, I use it myself, and I'm learning a lot that way. And I want to thank you for your time and being here. And I appreciate you taking the time to go over some things with me, and I appreciate you being my battle buddy.
I appreciate you even more.
Yeah, we're learning. I'm learning how to do this. We've learned together, and we keep each other accountable. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate the efforts you put on my end and helping me out. And I look forward to many more times together and doing some deals together and figuring some stuff out. So thank you for your time tonight, Ray. I do appreciate it. And we'll be catching up later, I guess.
All right. Sounds good. And don't forget this, the skills always pay the bills.
Right on. There's another good apple seed to remember right there. And with that, I'm going to say good evening, everybody. And till next time.
All right. Thank you. Have a good evening.